Hey, thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. I'm Derek Wetmore. I'm going to share with you my 5 thoughts from Tuesday's Twins game. Hopefully this video goes fairly quickly because the stories were pretty simple on Tuesday. Chris Young took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. He got 1 out in the 7th, but Trevor Plouffe broke it up. More on Plouffe in a second. It was Young's night. He wasn't necessarily dominant, but Twins just couldn't get anything going against him. Young finished the night with 6 1/3 innings pitched, just the 1 hit allowed, and that's actually the only hit the Twins got on the night. He had 2 strikeouts, but I say it wasn't dominant because he also walked 3 guys. He had, at one point, 2 runners on in an inning. That would have been the 6th inning, I believe. I should double check that before I say that. And it, it's one of those starts that doesn't necessarily look pretty, but a no-hitter into the 7th inning after we'd already seen a no-hitter in baseball. The Giants shut out the Mets. It was Young's night. I think there's not much more to say than that. He wasn't dominant by any means. You could tell Twins hitters were frustrated. Talking after the game, too, there's a level of frustration in the clubhouse for not getting through to Young and for not getting through the night previously against Jason Vargas. Twins felt like they should have got to both of those guys, but the offense is in a bit of a rut right now. In 9 June games, they scored 23 runs, about 2.5 runs per game. That's not going to get it done most of the time. The good teams score an average of 4 or 5 or more runs throughout the course of a season. I should say the best offensive teams. That was a pace the Twins were on at one point, and now June they've hit a little bit of a slump offensively. They'll look to get that going Wednesday in the series finale, and hopefully, for their sake, salvage a game. Because we came in a first-place showdown. The Royals took over now. And the Twins are trending in the wrong direction, but it's still very early. As I said before the series started, either team could get swept, and it's not going to change my opinion one way or the other on the division. It's just, in my opinion, far too early to be judging a game and calling these must-win, to be judging a season, and call any of these must-win games. So, disappointing, no doubt, but what are you going to do? It's second week of June. Now, I think the Twins will still be fine if they get swept in this series. They're kind of right in the thick of things in the AL wildcard. I don't like to look at the standings in June anyways, but I get the questions every single day, so I figured I would address that. Thought number 2, Torii Hunter had an extra base hit taken away from him. It could have even been a home run. It's tough to tell, kind of out by the wall. Alex Gordon jumped up to go get it. One of the best, if not the best, left fielder in baseball. Certainly took extra bases from Hunter, and that frustration maybe showed through a little bit too in Hunter's final at-bat. In the 9th inning, he was facing closer Greg Holland, and he popped up to the second baseman, just slammed his bat down in frustration. I think that was kind of more pent-up frustration, not just in that at-bat, not just in the near home run at-bat, but really kind of the recent struggles of the team in general. And as Torii Hunter and Trevor Plouffe have sort of cooled off at the plate, you've seen the offense take a step back, and the Twins suddenly hit a little bit of a rough patch here. So I think maybe some of that frustration just boiling to the surface for Hunter a little bit. Thought number 3, it was Trevor Plouffe who finally broke up the no-hitter. With an out in the 7th inning, he lifted a ball to the right field corner. Nearly a home run. I mean, he just barely missed a home run. Ended up hitting up high off of the right field wall. He chugged around, got a triple out of it, and then the Twins had a chance to drive him in. I mean, that was 1 out. There's a runner standing on third base. Got permission to score that run, but Eddie Rosario was facing a lefty. Reliever Franklin Morales came in to face Rosario, and he did not get the run home, nor then did Kurt Suzuki was up next. They went to get Calvin Herrera, one of their ace relievers, and got Suzuki to ground out to the shortstop. Alcides Escobar made a fantastic play in the shortstop hole, and then Eric Hosmer with a scoop at first base to complete the play. Just a highlight reel defensive play for the Royals. No real surprise. I mean, they're one of the best defensive teams in baseball. It's how you saw them make their postseason run last year, and if you were watching any of the postseason, you recognize some of the names that came out of their bullpen too. Calvin Herrera, Wade Davis, Greg Holland. When they were up after 7 innings, it was a 1-0 game, and I turned to the Judd Zulgad, who's sitting next to me in the press box. I said, that's it, game's over. Twins had their chance. rarely do teams get to Wade Davis or Greg Holland. The Twins certainly did have their chance in the ninth inning against Holland, but couldn't push the run across, end up falling by a final score 2-0. Thought number 4, it's quick. The Royals made some outs on the bases that actually allowed the Twins to hang around in the game. It included 2 pickoffs at third base. Trevor May stepped off the mound and got an out third base without the need of a rundown. Trevor Plouffe just ran and tagged out the runner. Later, too, they got it was a ground ball back to May, and they got a 1-5-4 scoring play to cut down, I think it was Alec Gordon, on the base paths. Those 2 those 2 runners headed to third base eventually could potentially turn into runs, but when you convert base runners into outs, as May and the Twins infielders were able to do, you give yourself a pretty nice head start in an inning. Suddenly you don't have to do quite as much work to get out of the inning and to cut down rallies to avoid some of those jams. You get yourself out of them pretty quickly. The Twins were able to do that on Tuesday. It wasn't quite enough. At the end of the day, the Royals and Chris Young were too much for the Twins. Thought number 5, probably the most impressive play of the day to me. Aaron Hicks catches a can of corn out in center field and then cuts down Kendrys Morales at the plate, trying to score on a sacrifice fly. That was in the 6th inning. It was May's last inning, and you could tell Trevor May was pretty excited based on his reaction, how he was kind of pumped up for that play. But it was Kendrys Morales had singled, and then Alex Gordon walked. Alex Rios lifts a fly ball to center field. Aaron Hicks, just good positioning, gets behind it, makes a strong throw to the plate. Kurt Suzuki gets it in plenty of time to slap the tag down on Kendrys Morales before he could score the run. Really showed off Aaron Hicks' cannon. He's got speed, he's got a huge arm, and those are 2 great tools to start with for a center fielder. It's always been about the reads and the routes and the bat for Aaron Hicks. We're seeing better signs, I think, in my opinion anyways, in all 3 of those categories this time around in the big leagues for Aaron Hicks. Quick bit of news after the game, Jorge Polanco was recalled from AA Chattanooga. Eddie Rosario hit the paternity list. Ordinarily, I would have led with that news because that could potentially be huge news for the franchise, but it sounds like it's a 1-game thing with Rosario hitting the paternity list. So he'll be in the Twin Cities on Wednesday. He will be on the 25-man active roster. I don't know if he'll start yet. I would kind of doubt it. But we'll see, and then with an off day Thursday and the Twins going to Texas, it sounds like Eddie Rosario will rejoin the team in Arlington. Polanco probably back to AA Chattanooga, would be my guess. Because you got Danny Santana as the starting shortstop for the Rochester Red Wings. So, anyway, that'll do it for this 5 Thoughts video. Really a pretty quick game. Chris Young was the story. Not dominant by any means, but take a no-hitter into the 7th inning, you're going to get your name written on in the paper, on the websites, on these videos, 5 Thoughts columns, what have you. Thanks for checking out this video on 1500ESPN.com. I'll be back with you Wednesday after the Twins-Royals series finale. Until then, I'm Derek Wetmore. Thanks for watching.